The moment I realized something strange was happening started with a phone ringing inside my jacket pocket. The problem was simple. It was not my phone. I had just stepped out of a taxi after a late evening in the city. As the car drove away, I noticed a smartphone sitting on the seat next to where I had been sitting. Instinctively, I picked it up before the taxi disappeared into traffic. At first, I thought the situation was simple. Someone had forgotten their phone. I would just wait for it to ring and answer so I could return it. But when the phone finally rang a few minutes later, the person on the other end said something that made me pause. "Please, whatever you do, do not unlock that phone." That sentence immediately made the entire situation feel very different. My name is Daniel, and the night this happened was completely ordinary at first. I had spent the evening meeting a few friends for dinner in the city. Nothing dramatic, just conversation, laughter, and the usual catching up that happens when people get busy with their lives. By the time we finished eating, it was already late. I ordered a taxi and headed back toward my apartment. The ride was quiet. The driver listened to soft music while the city lights passed by outside the window. About 20 minutes later, we arrived near my building. I paid the driver, stepped out of the car, and watched the taxi disappear down the street. That was when I noticed something lying on the pavement near my feet. The phone must have slipped from the seat when I opened the door. For a moment, I considered running after the taxi, but it had already turned the corner. So I picked up the phone and decided to wait for the owner to call. Inside the building lobby, I sat down on a chair and placed the phone on the table. About 5 minutes passed before the screen lit up. "Incoming call." The name on the screen said Alex. I answered immediately. "Hello." For a second, there was silence on the other end. Then a voice responded quickly. "Who is this?" I explained the situation calmly. "I just found this phone in a taxi. I think the owner left it in the car." The person on the other end sounded relieved. "Oh, thank you, that is my phone." Then the tone of the conversation changed. "Listen," he said carefully, "please do not unlock the phone." The request felt strange. "Why?" I asked. Another pause. "Just, please do not open anything on it." That was the moment curiosity started growing. At first, I assumed the explanation would be simple. Maybe the phone contained private information. Maybe the owner was embarrassed about personal messages or photos. But the way Alex spoke sounded unusually nervous. He asked where I was and said he could come pick it up immediately. I agreed and gave him the address of my building. 30 minutes, he said, I will be there. The call ended. For a moment, I sat quietly in the lobby, looking at the phone on the table. The screen was locked, but notifications continued appearing. Messages, emails, several missed calls. Each time the screen lit up, curiosity grew a little stronger. Why would someone be so worried about a stranger opening their phone? Part of me thought about ignoring the request. After all, if someone left their phone behind, it was normal for another person to answer messages or check contacts to find the owner. But the nervous tone in Alex's voice stayed in my mind. I decided to respect his request and simply wait. 10 minutes passed. Then something happened that made the situation even more interesting. Another message appeared on the screen. The notification preview showed just a few words. "Emma, did you tell him yet?" That single sentence created a strange feeling. Tell him what? Suddenly, the phone felt less like a lost object and more like a piece of a story I did not understand. 15 minutes later, the phone rang again. Another call from Alex. When I answered, his voice sounded slightly out of breath. "I'm almost there," he said. Then he asked a question quickly. "You did not open the phone, Right. No, I replied. Good. His relief was obvious. The call ended again. At that point, curiosity was almost overwhelming. What could possibly be inside a phone that made someone so anxious? Another message appeared. Emma, you promised you would tell him tonight. Now the mystery felt deeper. Someone named Emma clearly expected Alex to reveal something important to another person. And the phone I was holding seemed connected to that secret. About 5 minutes later, the lobby door opened. A man walked inside looking around quickly. He spotted me sitting near the table. You found my phone? He asked. I nodded and handed it to him. Alex looked exactly how he sounded on the phone, nervous, slightly anxious, grateful but distracted. Thank you, he said sincerely. Then something unexpected happened. Instead of leaving immediately, he sat down across from me. For a moment, he stared at the phone in his hands. Then he sighed quietly. You probably saw the messages on the screen, he said. I hesitated. Only the notifications. He nodded slowly. Tonight, I was supposed to tell my best friend something that could change everything. What kind of something? I asked. Alex smiled awkwardly. The kind of thing that is easier to text than say out loud. He paused again. Emma is his girlfriend. That sentence immediately explained everything. Alex continued quietly. And I realized tonight that I care about her more than I should. The situation suddenly felt much heavier than I expected. He looked at the phone again. That message you saw, Emma asking if I told him yet, that was about the truth. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then Alex stood up slowly. I think losing the phone was probably a good thing, he said. How? I asked. He smiled slightly. It gave me time to think. He looked at the screen again and shook his head. Some secrets are better left unsaid. He thanked me again for returning the phone and walked toward the door. Before leaving, he turned back and said something quietly. Sometimes the hardest message is the one you decide not to send. Then he disappeared into the night. I sat there for another minute thinking about the strange chain of events. A forgotten phone. A mysterious request. A secret confession that almost happened. All because of a taxi ride that was supposed to be completely ordinary. Sometimes the smallest moments lead to stories we never expect. A lost phone. A stranger's request. A secret message that almost changed several lives. If you found a phone like that, would you respect the owner's request and leave it locked? Or would curiosity win? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoy suspenseful storytelling about strange real-life situations, subscribe to the channel for more stories like this.